Welcome. My name is Wojciech Siryk and I'm joined by Jan Kubań. We are journalists from namzalezy.pl, a Polish YouTube channel focused on world economy and business. Today, we have a great honor of interviewing His Serene Highness, Hereditary Prince Alois of Liechtenstein. Welcome and thank you for being here with us.
Thank you for coming to Liechtenstein and your interest in Liechtenstein.
My name is Jan Kubań and I am the president of Polish-American Foundation for Economical Research and Education. And I am also a very strong advocate of direct democracy, which I promote in Poland and all over the world. And now I would like to address to you, our viewers, please like, write your comments and subscribe to our channel to have more information like this. Your Serene Highness, I would like to offer you this small souvenir from Poland.
Thank you very much. Nice memories to my visits to Poland in the past.
Okay, so small information about our country.
Thank you.
Your Serene Highness, how will you call the socio-political system of Liechtenstein? Monarchy? Direct democracy secured by the monarch?
Article 2 of the Liechtenstein Constitution says that Liechtenstein is a constitutional hereditary monarchy on a democratic and parliamentarian basis, and that the power of the state is vested in the prince and the people, and both have to use this power in accordance to the constitution. In practice, it means that we have a unique combination of a parliamentarian democracy with a strong monarchic and a strong direct democracy element.
How powerful is the Prince of Liechtenstein? Of course, I mean the political authority within the state. Is it the strongest monarchy in Europe?
No, it's not the strongest. If you look in Europe, you have the Prince of Monaco, who has a stronger role, particularly with regard to the government that is much more, let's say, based on the parliament here in Liechtenstein, so the formation of the government, and also government has to have both the confidence of parliament and of the reigning prince. In Monaco, it is mainly a government formed by the reigning prince there.
And what specific powers do you have as a monarch which distinguish you from other monarchs in the world?
I would say they're not specific powers, also if you compare it to the European monarchies, where some of them have formally, if you look at their constitutions, some of them quite similar rights. The main difference, again, if you would now mainly compare to Europe, is with the exception of Monaco, that the monarch in Liechtenstein still uses those constitutional rights in practice, and that we kept this practice over many years, and other monarchies stopped using that.
What do you think about the role of democracy? Is it anyhow useful?
I think democracy has obviously also its weaknesses. However, I think it's the best form of government. Important is that it's also based on a strong rule of law, good other elements like subsidiarity, and has the right setup in the constitution. But definitely, ultimately, democracy is the best combination to, or the best way to combine the interest of the individual with the interest of the community.
And to be specific, you have such a tools as a referendum. You have also ability to secede. A commune can secede from and it looks that these both factors are just factors to be killing monarchy. and why it works like this?
I think if you want to have an active monarch in current times, you need to make sure that he has a democratic legitimization. And in a hereditary monarchy, one way to do it, and we do that in Liechtenstein, is to have the possibility of vote of non-confidence against the reigning prince, and the possibility to abolish the monarchy. And yeah, even so, if people, one part of the population is not happy, that they can succeed the country. So that was the logic behind those rights that luckily so far had never been used.
But it works.
It works
till now, yeah. And you know, I was educated as a physician, and I am looking for some kind of the best socio-political system in the world. And what prerogatives should monarch have in the system, which is between monarchy and the democracy, and what prerogatives should have citizens?
In my opinion, there's no general rule to that. One has to look very much at specific form of monarchy in the various states, and also their historic, political and cultural context, and find the right combination. Important is that you have a strong separation of powers, rule of law, human rights, etc.
And strong institutions.
Strong institutions.
And as I already said, I am investigating. I am looking for the best socio-political system. Do you think that this symbiosis of direct democracy and monarchy you have here in Liechtenstein, it's the best political system, and we should promote it? We should explain to the people.
I think it's very difficult to transfer the political system from one country to another. It works very well for Liechtenstein, but you know, each country has a different historical, political, cultural setup or background, and as a result, I think you need to adjust political systems to that. You can obviously look at them from other countries, study what works well for them, take some elements, but I think each country needs to find its own system.
But you know, when I read the book of your Syrian Highness's father, I think he mentioned that the monarch plays some kind of regulator, because you know, all the politicians, even in direct democracy, they want to abuse. If they have a little chance, they abuse the power. So the monarch is saying, no, you are not allowed to do this.
I think a monarchy or a strong monarch element has a lot of benefits. Like explained before, democracy has a lot of benefits. Benefits of strong monarch element I see particularly in long-term focus of politics, continuity, bringing stability into politics. Then the monarch can be head of state above neutral politicians, above party politics. Ensure that minority interests are not pushed aside, also trying to bring together, if parties are in strong disagreement, bring them together again. And the monarchy can be also a strong element of identity for the people and for a state.
And now the question about succession, so the possibility to succeed. It's you know, in Poland, every politician is completely afraid. It's out of the question. They want to discuss. And are you afraid that this possibility of the Liechtensteiner community to succeed is it may destroy your system, your political system?
No, as long as politicians in Liechtenstein, including the monarch, but as you know, in Liechtenstein, the people can, with direct democracy, involve themselves very directly into politics, do a good job. and don't suppress a particular community, there's no danger. And things are working very well, so I don't see that.
Yeah, so yeah, very good example that it works. And there are about 200 countries in the world, and the most healthy and wealthy are Switzerland and Liechtenstein. And in both these countries, the predominant, I mean, the main system is direct democracy. Do you think that it's related, that these countries are rich and citizens are prosperous and satisfied because of the system, because of direct democracy?
I think democracy is an important element for the success of Switzerland and Liechtenstein, as it ensures that politics happens close to the people and is aligned with their long-term interest. However, I believe there are also other elements, important elements that make up the success of our two countries, like separation of powers, also in the sense of subsidiarity within the various levels of organization in the state, that we have a free market economy and other elements like this.
So I would like to ask you one question to precise. What do you mean about subsidiarity? Because it's the people in Europe misunderstood this concept. So in Switzerland, this concept means that you help, but as a ultimate, in a ultimate condition. So you are not obliged to help, but you help when the situation is really wrong, or when the community is not allowed to resolve this problem by itself. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I would define a good way of structuring or ensuring subsidiarity is that you regulate, ensure that the tasks, the decisions, even on the financing of tasks of the state are regulated, taken at the lowest level where they can be sensibly taken. And you only bring those tasks to the top level of the state that really can only be taken there, where it only makes sense that they are taken there. And that's something that is very well, I think, structured both in Switzerland and Liechtenstein. In Switzerland through three levels, community level, cantons, and then the state. In Liechtenstein we have just the communities and the state. And then there's obviously also the element of what do you keep for the private sector, and that again is also a question. What is better done by the state, and what is better organized and done by the private, and to there always be rather restrictive on what you bring to the state level and what level of the state.
Thank you very much. It's a very important explanation because, as I said, a lot of people, the majority of Europeans will misunderstood this concept. Thank you.
In your predictions, what will be the future of monarchy as an institution? Do you think one day democracy will triumph, or are we awaiting for a great rebirth of monarchy?
There's no contradiction between monarchy and democracy. If you look in practice, all state constitutions are a mix of monarchic elements, aristocratic or oligarchic elements, and elements of democracy. Important is that you find the right mix of those elements, and that they are based on what we said before: rule of law, human rights, separation of power, and so on. And you can also look at the example of Liechtenstein, where we have on one side a strong monarchic element, but we have a very strong element of direct democracy and obviously other democratic elements. And that is a successful combination. I think it's more the question on how you combine those elements in the right way, and there are many ways how you can do that. not all the ways have been proven to be successful in the past.
What trends do you observe that might influence the evolution of monarchies in coming decades?
Currently, you have quite a strong discussion, or stronger than in previous years, in the more recent past, about the difficulties of particularly parliamentarian democracies. And what I observe, that one is more interested, again, also a long time scientific world was not interested at all in monarchy. It was something considered old-fashioned and not worth to look at anymore. But one now sees the benefits of these monarchic elements that I explained before, this long-term orientation, this stability that the monarch can bring, this source of identity of a country, this neutral position it can play. So that, I think, could make monarchy or strong monarchic elements more interesting in the future.
What's the reason for the constant popularity of Liechtenstein family across your country?
That's a question you better ask the people of Liechtenstein. I assume that, however, that the family was successful in looking after the long-term interest of the people of the country.
How does the princely family maintain its connection with the people nowadays?
The small size of the country, with only 40,000 inhabitants, allows a very direct contact with the people, so one can meet on a regular basis a larger part of the population. That definitely helps. But there are new ways of communication, social media, so I think in future we will also have to consider more to study the best way on how to use them.
And now about a little bit about the future. What do you think, whether European Union or European Council of Europe will limit your political system, the political system of Liechtenstein? Are you afraid of this or not?
No. The political system of Liechtenstein was scrutinized in detail when we became member both of the EU, the EA, European Economic Area, by the EU, and when we became member of the Council of Europe. On top of it, the Council of Europe looked again at it when we had a larger constitutional change in 2003. So I don't see there a danger, and it current setup of the constitution, we have it since more than 100 years. People in Liechtenstein are very happy. It has been proven successful, so I don't see much of the danger in that.
Now, I would like to ask you about the referendum as a tool, because I think that referendum teaches as well the awareness and responsibility of the people, because they, they take a decision in referendum and they see the results then. Do you think that it plays such a role of teaching tool?
I would think that direct democracy and referendums at a certain frequency increase the understanding of people for the state and how the state functions. And probably it also ensures that people are more aware of their responsibilities for the state, because they have stronger, let's say, also awareness that whatever they decide on, it has very direct effects.
What does the economic system of the Principality of Liechtenstein look like in practice? Is it really as free market as were the views of Hans Adam II?
If you compare it in an international context, the economic system of Liechtenstein is a very free, liberal market economy. However, in the context or in the sense of the book of my father, there are definitely areas where we can further improve it. We still give considerable subsidies, for instance, for agriculture, and also in a way that are probably not that sustainable, or that don't ensure a very ecological, sustainable agriculture, or we can make further improvements. So there are still areas, obviously, to improve.
Just to be certain, despite the huge sympathy and favor for the free market system, why Principality intervenes in areas that handle it naturally? For instance, sport or culture.
One certainly can have different views how much state should support or subsidize culture and sport. The reason why we do that to some extent in Liechtenstein is we saw that it's a very good way to ensure social cohesion and social integration. And there is most probably not the same amount of support if we would just leave it to the free market. So that's why we consider it's worthwhile to do a bit more on that side.
And now, very long question, so let me ask it. In his book, very interesting book, The State in the Third Millennium, His Serene Highness's father stated that the state should play a role of a service enterprise to the citizens. And so the question is, here in Liechtenstein, you have a lot of entrepreneurs. You have probably more entrepreneurs than citizens, because there are a lot of people working as well here. Do you have in your parliament, you personally as a prince, do you feel this impact from the entrepreneurs and maybe small entrepreneurs, maybe the big ones? How do you think this? Do they influence your policy?
Liechtenstein, in the international context, I would assume, has a strong influence of entrepreneurs. There's also the culture of becoming entrepreneur. If you look for every citizen, there's one company for every 9 citizens. If you compare, for instance, Germany, there's one for every 24, 25. And some of it is due to that we have a lot of people also commuting every day into Liechtenstein to work here, but nevertheless, and as I said, there's this aim to become once an entrepreneur. It's very much the mindset here. In addition, we have also a lot of politicians that have an entrepreneurial background. We have a militia parliament, which makes it easier for entrepreneurs to become also parliamentarians. If you look at the background of members of the government, they're not usually full-time politicians. It's actually, we only have the mayors and the 5 members of government that are full-time politicians. So again and again, there are entrepreneurs that move into government. And then finally, my family has also a century-long tradition of entrepreneurial activity.
A lot of people think that microstates are so unique that they cannot be a good example for larger countries to follow. Is it true?
Microstates have certainly a different framework that they operate, and certain things that are possible for microstates, for instance, that they can, when they have good, friendly, but highly developed neighbors like we have, we can share certain services of the state, outsourcing them. We have to pay for that, but it's a better use of infrastructure. You can share infrastructure. That's something that, larger states, you don't have this effect, disadvantage. You have, on the other hand, disadvantages as a small state or microstate. So certain things you can't compare, but there are other things that you can compare, or learn from each other. Like, for instance, the concept we discussed before, subsidiarity, is probably even more important in a larger state.
Yeah.
What are your family ties with Poland? Do you have any? We are also interested in your opinion about Poland.
My family ties go mainly over my grandmother, who is a born Countess Wilczek. Wilczeks are an old aristocratic family from Poland, I think dating back to the 12th century. However, her part of the family lived a long time in the Austrian-Hungarian Empire, and there in the area of Vienna and surrounding Vienna. So those links go back quite far. But I have been in Poland in past years, and I had the opportunity to visit a few times, and was very impressed about to see the development, particularly also the strong economic development of the whole infrastructure of Poland, and impressed by this success. So you had previously people from Poland more leaving the country to find work abroad. Now it's more the other way around. So one has to congratulate about this development.
So I remember when I was young and first I came to Switzerland and I felt as a beggar, a very, very poor guy. And now it's really, we are nothing to shame, okay, in Poland, because Poland was so developed. So we use this time after transformation of our political system to build our economy. So thank you. It's a very, very good observation from your behalf. And I also would like to thank you very much from this concept of subsidiarity, which is very important. Thank you for this very interesting interview.